BlogTalk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to a conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. And I would also like to welcome my co-host, Amelia Santara. Hello, Amelia.
Hello, Chrism.
So there's a bit of a wait there for you to come on. Were you deciding? Did you? Weren't expecting that.
No. Sometimes the microphone mute. I don't know. It just responds differently some nights. So again, it's good to be here and co-hosting. Hello to Rosemary. Hello to you, and hello to all our listeners.
Yes.
May I begin, Chrism, with making my announcement?
Oh, please, if you'd like.
Okay. Well, I'm going to begin again with announcing about the seminars that Kundalini Awakening Systems will be doing in 2014. I'm organizing two of these seminars. One is going to be held in New York, and the other one is going to be held in Ireland. The New York seminar is happening on March the 23rd and March the 24th. And it's going to be held in a really nice venue about 35 miles north of New York City. And we'll be gathering on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. and the seminar will run through and finish at 5 p.m. on Sunday. I can give people details if they're interested in attending, if they write to me at kundalinimatters@gmail.com. And I really would encourage people to consider coming to the seminar. I still have a few places left. It's going to be a small and intimate gathering of 10 people. And so please do write to me at kundalinimatters@gmail.com if you have an interest in attending there. The other seminar is going to be a European seminar and it's being held in Ireland. And this, again, is in a lovely venue, about a half an hour's drive from Dublin Airport. And as part of your coming, you will be collected and brought to the venue if you fly into Dublin Airport. Again, this is slightly different in that it begins on Friday night. Well, the seminar doesn't, but we gather on Friday night, and the seminar begins on Saturday and runs through again until Sunday. So, again, it's the same email address, kundalinimatters@gmail.com. And I would be delighted to hear from you there. And again, I'll just make a quick announcement about where you can go if you would like to make a donation to the work that Chrism does. The name of the website is www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, and on the upper right-hand corner you will see a donate button, and it's a very easy way of making a donation. There's absolutely no pressure or expectation for you to make a donation, but all donations are gratefully received indeed. So that is www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. So those are my two seminars, as I'm calling them, that I'm organizing, and Rosemary is organizing one.
Thank you. And speaking of Rosemary, I would like to give Rosemary the microphone now.
Thank you, Chrism, and thank you, Amelia, and all our listeners, and in the archives as well. You are hearing from me and Eileen Lauro also that we are having a seminar in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, September 27th and 28th. A beautiful time of year in Minnesota, and it will be quite different than the weather they're having right now. And I'm eternally grateful to Chrism and to Eileen for the seminar 2 years ago that I attended, maybe 2.5 by now, and that is the beginning for me of being here at the ashram now. So thank you. Very, very profitable experience. Very powerful.
Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you. Okay. So New York, Ireland, and Minnesota in that order. So if people would like to come and experience a Kundalini awakening, as Rosemary did 2 years ago, you say? about 2 years ago.
2.5. It was 2 last fall.
2 last fall. Rosemary, as far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the seminar in Minnesota that Eileen organized is your first experience with Kundalini?
Yes.
And have you had any symptoms or anything since there in the last 2.5 years?
Yes, I have a completely different life and outlook on life and guidance, especially inner guidance, and an awareness of Kundalini's presence in my life. And I was saying, being here at the ashram for 2.5 months to deepen that and to be with Chrism, our teacher.
Well, and it's an honor, Rosemary, to have you here. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's an honor to be a part of your Kundalini awakening equation, as it is an honor to be part of everybody who's listening to this broadcast Kundalini equation. And I would like to recognize those in the archives who are visiting us in the future. I'd like to say hello and welcome to you, and hello and welcome to the to present listeners as well. Today, I want to talk a little bit about divinity. So I guess, Amelia, the title for this one could be Kundalini and Divinity, unless we've already done that one. Okay. More specifically, I'm looking at the idea of how the human being will attempt to draw divinity in to support their ego. So, for instance, we say we're in a castle and we're being besieged by an army. Well, the army really wants to take the castle, and so they're praying to God, oh, dear God, let us take this castle. Oh, my gosh, dear God. And then, of course, the people in the castle are going, oh, dear God, don't let that army come into the castle, you know. And so we're having a push-me-pull-you with regards to divinity. And what I want you to understand, or what I'm trying to get across here, is that divinity is real, and it will only take sides to the point that it desires to take sides, not what the people in the moment perhaps are asking for, unless of course you've got a very you've got an adept among somebody, and they would, back in those days, they would try to get an adept to support their government or their control, and you can actually get an adept that knows about weather modification, and from that a great level of power can be exerted over a people. Not so much these days, except in the very, very far the 20 families that run the world financially. These folks, they're also being kind of possessed because their wealth allows them to feel omnipotent, and through that hubris of omnipotence, they are themselves taken control of by other entities, other beings that have that interest. With regards to the Kundalini, even now, as people find out about the Kundalini and want to have the Kundalini awaken in them, 99% of the people are just there so they can do magical things. They can have powers over other people or over their environment or over their personal life equation. They want to be Superman, Superwoman. They want to do those things, and they just don't quite understand yet that is not the nature of Kundalini, is not to fulfill your wildest desires. Matter of fact, it's a little bit of the opposite. It's there to help you not have any more wild desires that you attach to. And so, this being the agenda, as you come into the divine fold, the divine field, the flesh is made divine, you begin to experience a change in your, shall we say, efforts to gratify the ego. As we go back in time, we can see, from the earliest days of organized community back in Sumerian times, and people had a level of misunderstanding about their own power. they would look outside themselves for power. They didn't realize that as a creation of the divine at all, that they are a power in and of themselves, and they do not require divine guidance, or I should say divine intervention in order to be released from a certain situation. Divine guidance is always there to be given, and I think that's a very good thing for a person to seek out, and this would be an excellent reason to awaken the Kundalini, as long as the person knows, that it's not, just, cherries, plums, and strawberries all the time. Sometimes, there are difficult moments as a person detoxes from their, sometimes 50 years of programming in this life. As they detox from that programming, well, those toxicities are going to rise to the surface. You're going to some degree, you're going to experience some of that over and over and over again until it gets out of your system. And this is also of a divine origin. This is also the divine working through the human individual in order to cleanse that person of the many, shall we say, not as helpful as they could be levels of programming that our society puts out. Now, when people are in the position that I described with a castle surrounded by an army, yes, the prayers are heard. Yes, everybody is listened to all the time. There's never a time when you're not being listened to or heard. In many ways, there is a karma that is being developed there, and whether the castle stands or falls, karma is in the process of being made, and depending on the strength of unity that the people may have with themselves, with each other, with themselves personally, will determine whether or not the invading force will win, number one, or two, be able to reprogram the population. Force has been used over and over and over. Even now, to this day, it's being used in order to modify people's belief systems. And this will, whether or not it believes with your personal belief system, whether you have one or not, force will be used to push you into levels of programming that allow you to do this, but that won't allow you to do that. I mean, so you have to kind of play the game if you're going to live in society, and I'm all for that. I think that's just fine. But when it comes to a Kundalini person attempting to enlist divinity in order to lend spiritual corruption into other people's lives, well, now that's a different story, and there we have some that's a definite thing not to do. And in this way, I'm going to suggest that you do not come into warmongering type of belief systems that would tempt your ego to use divinity or the skills of the Kundalini in a way that would not be beneficial to yourself or for the other people that you may be directing it at. In other words, get out of any kind of a belief system that forces you to do violence upon another person or an animal or anything. I'm not talking about self-defense, okay? Sometimes self-defense is a necessary thing. But when you go out of your way to plan, strategize a level of attack, of a hurtful quality, using your Kundalini and trying to push divinity into the equation, well, you come up with a very interesting scenario. And basically what happens is a person that begins to do this is inviting demonic possession of themselves by those entities that resonate with that level of violence. So when the person is praying, oh my God, let me decimate my enemy, well, you're calling upon demonic structures that would more than happily, help you vanquish the people that you're against, and yet your Kundalini will not help you there, but it will allow you to be trapped. It will allow you to endure a painful possession by virtue of your agreements to allow demonic programming to enter into your Kundalini awakening equation. You'll get to go to hell, definitely, every night, for a matter of years, if that's what it takes. Okay, and I know. You know, some people say, "Well, I've been to hell, and I've lived through hell, and I've come through hell, and I've got hell to go through, and I'll go through that too." You know, I hear it all from the people who, you know, have this huge, great ego fixation on what they think they've gone through with regards to a hell realm. But regardless of that, you don't need to go there if you don't attach to these competitive belief systems. The Babylonian belief system is a competitive belief system. The Enochian, Enochian, I believe, Enochian, the Enochian systems of magic and sorcery. Well, these are systems that take away free will. They have no problem taking away the free will of other people, and therefore, by reflection, they have no problem taking away your free will either. And so I will definitely counsel you away from this. Don't use sigils. Don't use... I mean, you know, if you're going to get into sorcery and witchcraft, leave your Kundalini alone. If you're still at the stage where you have an ego-infested expression, well, let that infestation run its course. Don't enlist the aid of the divine in order to manifest your ego's greatest desires. They're not all really good, and they attract, you know, sometimes a very, very, very negative crowd, and it's very hard to distance yourself from these. You know, wearing a crucifix and making the cross on your forehead or across your chest isn't going to do it. Okay? We're talking belief systems that predate Christianity by thousands and thousands of years. You know, for almost that many years, those people practiced that belief system. They created, you know, levels and levels of very, very powerful demonic type entities that are only too happy to They're too happy to pull in people around you in order that they too may be possessed by some more of the same type of entities. And so this will not be allowed to flourish in a positive, beneficial programming environment if it is allowed to occur at all. Okay? Kundalini has an agenda with itself and with the person that's having it. Kundalini is in control. There is no ancient power that is stronger or is more able to discern the truth from the lie. Kundalini is it. And so, as I have said and I have written, you know, many times, take the advice from your Kundalini first before you respond to that handsome, engaging, smiling face that says, "Hey, have I got a deal for you?" Okay? Take the advice of your Kundalini first. Do not practice mantras that you don't know what they mean. Do not use sigils that you do not know what they represent. If you're going to be a witch or a sorcerer or a, what do they call that, the warlock, or any of these, you know, these old systems of ego-based power, then leave your Kundalini alone. Mature your way through these areas first. Grow and evolve beyond the need to be, you know, controlling or taking away other people's choices. Putting a hex on a person or sending demons to punish somebody that you don't like. This is a great way to begin to sculpt your next expression and certainly within a Kundalini context, you'll get hit hard. You'll get hit hard, either in your next life or in this life or both. And I don't want you to have to suffer any more than your karma that you've already accrued allows you to suffer. Let's not build more. Okay, so this would be an anti-karmic development conversation in a way with regards to these belief systems. We have people in power these days who are practicing the Babylonian systems. Moloch, they pray to a 40-foot Moloch, the owl, west of here about 15 miles. It's just, it would be absolutely hilarious if it wasn't so pathetic. Okay. The misuse of their will, the misuse of their resources, the direction towards corruption and destruction and, qualities of this nature are so very base, and yet, obviously, we have to go through them because we elect these people to power. We buy the products that these people put out for us to purchase. So we have made them who they are. They may not realize that. They think that, well, I was born wealthy, therefore God has decreed that because I was born wealthy, then it's my way and everybody else can walk on the highway. This is an attitude of a lot of the people that are even in power positions within the United States right now and other places in Europe and China, Soviet Union, or I should say Russian Confederation and other areas. So do your very best not to become involved with these belief systems that nurture war, that nurture domination, that nurture hurtful attitudes, solely for the joy of the ego. Get that out of your system first before you consciously awaken Kundalini like Rosemary did. Rosemary came to a seminar. She had been, as some of you may know, she was a Catholic nun of the Maronite. Is that right? Maronite? What is it?
It was the community name. My church is the Maronite Church now, but I was in a Roman Catholic community.
Of women?
Yes.
Nuns?
Yes.
And where was that? That was in Minnesota, right?
Originally Pittsburgh, and then I was transferred to Minnesota.
Okay, all right. So originally in Pittsburgh, and you were transferred to Minnesota, and you were one of those flying nuns that Sally Field represented, right?
Oh, of course.
Unidentified flying nun, a UFN. Anyway, so Rosemary went through 25 years of being a nun. She joined that community when she was 16, and she came out when she was 25 years older. And so that induced a level of refinement that when she came to the seminar, she was ready. I'm not saying that you have to be a nun or a priest for 25 years in order to reach a level of refinement that is acceptable to the Kundalini. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, just a few months of a practice can be conducive to Kundalini development. What I am saying is that some of you, your life and the choices that you have made in your life are directly conducive to Kundalini awakening later on in your life. Okay, so as Rosemary would tell me about her experience with the nuns, about why she joined and, what was all about that. Hang on, I'm going to take off my jacket. Oh, God. I tell you what, the Kundalini will cook you alive. Okay. I'm being cooked right now. Okay. What I am saying is that the choices we make help discern and decide the course of spiritual evolution that we will involve ourselves in. And if all of you who are hearing this, you're receiving an invitation, a gift through the voice from my Kundalini. Rosemary here, she's here at the ashram, and she's receiving every level of energetic exchange that her beingness can hold. It's not an easy thing. It is not an easy thing. But she's doing it, and she's doing it well, and I applaud her, and I'm going to encourage her to continue and to move forward. And I think she has everything that she needs in order to do this. Now, with regards to current situations, say on the internet, most people will not have a Kundalini-based group around them. It's still that few and far between. But I'm going to ask you, I'm going to suggest, shall we say, I'm going to suggest to you that you avoid anything that uses spells or sigils or possession or channeling or sacred mantras of a religion you have no clue about. I'm going to suggest you not do any of these things at all. You can get stuck. I got caught in one of these spider webs earlier on, and it's a really difficult task to get out of that spider web. And I don't want you to go there. I'm not talking about a hell realm. This is something more pathetic, if you can get more pathetic than a hell realm. This is somebody who's just, trying to get power from your imprisonment, basically, like a collector. So you don't need to go there. Don't just take any diagram or map or book or prayer or mantra, be it tarot cards or playing cards or, the outlines of a game or a Ouija board. Don't do these things. And I'm not saying don't do them because you're guaranteed it's going to be terrible, horrible for you. What I am saying is that you're reaching outside of the most important part, and that's your Kundalini. You're reaching outside, trying to bring something inside that your inside's already had for like 1 billion years. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Kundalini's already got the wheel handled for you. For some of you, I should say. Okay, we have a phone number here if you'd like to call in. The phone number is guest call in 347-934-0026. Amelia, I'll give you a moment to grab your mic and run in the kitchen from the bathroom. There you are.
Here I am. Yes.
Now, you live in Ireland, and there has been a lot of that kind of give and take there between the warring nations of the Tuatha De Danann, the Partholonians, the Firbolg, and the Milesians, just to name four of the main ones, without naming Christianity as a main one. So I guess I should name Christianity as another main one, the current one. Have you felt, or is there in Ireland? Is there a big resurgence of Druidic beliefs and practices?
Yes, I think there probably is Chrism, but it never left in many ways. When I was growing up, that was very much part of. I was very aware of that aspect of my culture.
And yet, Christianity wanted to dominate that and suppress that, right?
Oh, yes. When Christianity came, it changed and incorporated an awful lot of the ceremonies, the rituals, the connection with the earth, all of those things were mutated to suit the Christian perspective.
Could you put your headphones on?
They're on, Chrism.
We're getting an echo from you. I guess your
can
mic.
Hear it,
Yeah.
It's the same mic I've been using for the last few weeks.
All right. Oh, well, thank you for that, Amelia. So yes. See, really, in many places on the world where land masses have changed human habitation and controls, you'll have the sublimation of one belief system by the conquering belief system. Christianity borrowed a lot from the Romans, who borrowed a lot from the Greeks, who borrowed a lot from, all the, some of the main belief systems of that time, including Babylonian, Sumerian, and things going way back into time. To some degree, this is a level of karmic development that people will need to go through. But I'm going to suggest that for those of you who are seeking Kundalini, you've already been there. You don't need to go there afresh. It's already now, unless you do. Okay, unless you're one of these guys that want Kundalini awakening so bad that they're willing to corrupt any and all who come their way in order to get their way, then you will have this karmic experience to become acquainted with. But for the most part, Kundalini people do not need to do this. Okay. Now, one of the things that can happen with awakened Kundalini is that very, very strong levels of service, this love for humanity, the love for the environment, the love will become expanded, and the love of giving service to a certain segment of the population will become very, very, very strong, and this will pull you in. Or this can pull you in to the basics, shall we say, of that struggle. And if you don't know to discern, if you're not able to take a step back and look at the entire paradigm of what that, we'll just say a war, what that war is all about, well, then you really can't make a great, shall we say, evolutionary leap with regards to the Kundalini, because you don't have enough information to support a service that you're trying to give, a Kundalini service that you're trying to give. And what will typically happen is people will just begin taking sides. And then the side that they decide is the right side, and then that's the side that they're going to manifest service through. And this is a karma collector here. That will definitely create and collect karma for you because you haven't taken the time to learn the history, say, of that certain altercation between two populations. Then you don't really know the karmic boundaries that are being balanced and the karmic boundaries that are being created. And sometimes it's just it's an obvious role reversal, like with the Israelis. The Israelis are experiencing the role reversal. They were almost completely decimated by people that they have, in behaviors, seemingly become, which would be the Nazis. Okay. Right now, Israel is one of the, shall we say, more predisposed towards racism and violent clash and taking over other people's land than they are with just being happy with what they've got and trying to find balances within different ethnic populations. But, it seems that the Israeli, it's all about being a Jew. If you're not a Jew, then you're not really worth considering. And this is a very, very, very common program that is initiated through competing societies. Before it was the Jews, well, then it was the Germans. Okay, before it was the Jews, it was the Germans. Before the Germans, it was the French, say. Before the French, it was the English. Before the English, it was, and you just go back in time. Everybody's playing the bad guy some of the time. Okay, it's something that we need to move through. You, having Kundalini, you really need to begin to do your work to determine the level and quality of service that you want to give to others. Do the work. If you're going to support a war, then you really need to know what's going on with that war. And you need to listen to your Kundalini before you listen to some guy, running a radio or a TV show or writing a book. You need to listen to your Kundalini first. And especially if that goes against your ego or your desire to serve, well, you go against that because your ego is pointing you in the wrong direction. And it's the same for anybody that's going to show you a quick shortcut to power. A quick shortcut to power, like, say, Enochian mantras or techniques of that nature. Magical things where you're basically using demonic realms in order to achieve specific outcome. A guy named Bremelin the Mage, and he's got a book out there. I think it's called the Teachings of a Bremelin the Mage. He is a really good guy. He's a really, really good guy. He's a 14th century sorcerer, and he wrote this treatise. I forget what it's called, but I'm sure you can look it up on Amazon. Bremelin the Mage. And he basically says, don't do this work unless you are pure of heart. If you are not pure of heart, then this path will consume you. I want to reiterate his words. Do not walk the Kundalini path unless your heart is pure, or at least you're in the process of making it pure. Now, pure is this absolutist term. I'm happy with just increasing levels of purity with people of the 21st century. I'm really happy to see a person in the process of purification, which also means that they're in the process of detoxifying their beingness from mannerisms and behaviors that caused levels of corruption to occur. Bremelin is very strong about that. Matter of fact, one of the I read this, maybe 30 years ago, and I chose not to go there because I could see that my heart at that time was not where it needed to be. So I put it away, and I put it away in a safe place, and the rats got to it and chewed up the pages, which I thought was really kind of cool. What a cool way for the Kundalini to say, not for you, and not at this time, if at all. And I want to be the rat to chew up your fixation that you may have on some sort of a belief system that allows you quick access to easy power, because they don't exist, my man. Quick access to easy power does not exist. And get rid of the idea that you think it does. Okay. All right. So with regard to a Bremelin, he would use, and this was called for in some of the incantations and spells and whatnot that he would use, a child not more than age 6 or 7, because why? Why would he want to use a child to do demonic controls, which is what he was doing? It's because of their innocence, their purity. They are not corrupt. They are innocent, you see. In order to do God's work, you must be innocent. You must have developed yourself to the point where you can have a pure heart. As pure a heart as it can be while you're still here in the body within the 5 sense controlled system of physical expression here on this world. You must seek out purity where you have it within yourself. Not where some teacher like Chrism comes along and says, "Oh, you must do this, you must do that, and yes, and I will make things all better for you, my friend." No, you don't listen. Don't listen to people tell you that there's a quick, easy access to power, because typically it's going to blow up in your face, and that's about as quick and easy as it's going to get. Okay. That's about as quick and easy as it's going to get. So know this and use this and bring this into a level of understanding within your practice and acquisition of a body that is able to have and hold the Kundalini. That's the acquisition point. It's not about whether the Kundalini will awaken in you. It's whether or not you're working your body, your mind, your body, your ego, your emotions, and your spirituality towards the Kundalini awakening. Okay, it's not just about receiving. If you're not doing the protocols, at least in my case, if you're not following the protocols that I ask you to follow, you're not going to get it. Period. If you're not willing to do the refinement work, then you're not going to get it. And it's just like, these old systems. These old systems, they're powerful creations because they're still fresh. They're locked in a time zone of it's a memory-based time deficit. Okay, outside of humanity, time doesn't exist. The changing of the seasons, the growing of the body, these things elicit an understanding and an application of time upon the human being, upon the mentality of the human being. That's not necessarily so for divinity. And that means that those lower divine beings, the demonic and things of that nature, they're still there. They're still fresh. They're still active. You start calling on them more than once, and you may be surprised about what comes to visit. I wrote something on the Facebook Kundalini Awakening ! So any of you that are on Facebook and read that piece I wrote, but more importantly, look at the picture. The picture is so perfect for the point that I'm trying to make with this. Okay? Levels of divinity that are still encased in competition do not share power. Let me repeat that. Levels of divinity that are still involved in competitive behaviors do not share power. It may promise to share the power, but then it'll find a reason not to. These are levels. These are, in a way, in my understanding of, these are like the fallen ones. They exist, absolutely, without a doubt. Okay, and they won't share power. Where in God's green earth would a human develop the level of hubris and ego calcification that will allow them to think that they could control semi-divine entities simply because they're chanting, some words in an old belief system? What's really going to happen is that person is going to be dominated and possessed by those entities from that belief system. And from there, a level of a vortexual transformation is being given. There, the entity that is now using that person's body is going to try to suck more people into its orbit, into orbiting around itself, so that more and more people can be dominated. And typically what will happen is they will offer quick and easy access to power. But let me clear it up for you. It's not quick and easy access to power that you can use to rule over other people. It's quick and easy power of you. You're the one that they're taking the quick and easy power from. And you have allowed that to happen by making that choice. By making that choice, by looking outside instead of looking within. Okay? By looking outside instead of looking within. Amelia? Amelia, wake up,
Yes,
wake up,
Chrism?
wake up, wake up. Are you awake?
I'm awake.
What do you
Can you
think
hear
about
me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Chrism?
Yes. What do you think about this?
I agree with everything that you've been talking about, actually.
That is such a...
Especially about the... Well...
That's an easy escape, let me tell you.
No. I'm coming. I'm going to expand. It's the thing about the power that's the easy access to power. It's how, I suppose we all really want, the easy access to everything. Therefore, I can understand why that happens for people. And you were speaking about, ego-infected expressions, I think, and I was thinking to myself, the thing is, though, we don't recognize that in ourselves, perhaps, when that's what's happening. People don't, I think, recognize what is occurring for them when they're in that expression.
Well, that's why we're having this show.
It's easier to observe. Yeah, okay.
People need to recognize that negativity doesn't share power that way. Yeah. It's like a black hole. A black hole never shares power, right? Amelia, Are you there?
A black hole never shares power, okay. I'm here.
What are you laughing about? You're making me laugh.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Okay.
And about being pure in the process, what you were saying about that as well, or at least being in, becoming, working on that, working the body,
well, actually,
all
working
of that.
the ethics,
that's all resonated.
Working the ethics, working the morality.
Yeah.
As you know, I get accused of all kinds of things, from eating babies to being a character out of a Harry Potter movie. I get accused of everything. And all I'm going to suggest is that people practice their ethics as strongly as they practice their physical body if they go to a gym daily. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Amelia? You're walking?
No, that was my fridge dropping ice cubes into the tray.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Out here in the West, out here in the United States, we have an Iceman drive up in a truck, and he delivers it in our fridge. So that's how we do it. Out here in rural California. Anyway, okay.
No, ours is all,
do we have people in the chat room?
Yes, we do. There are no questions there, though. We have people with numbers, and we have Suka and Fashji are the only two with names today.
Hi, Suka. Hi, Fashji. Welcome to the conversation. I hope you timed it well so that you missed the announcements.
Oh, that's not fair. Now, they don't know what you mean because they weren't here. Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Oh, I think Chrism has gone. Actually, Chrism has gone. Okay. Oh, I hate when this happens. Okay, listeners, it's me again. Yes, so I'll just hang about until Chrism comes back. And, that's very interesting. Chrism had actually written a piece today in the Kundalini Awakening System exclamation point on Facebook. And it was a very interesting piece. So, and the photograph is quite descriptive as well. So if you have an opportunity, go and have a read of that. I think he's back. He is. Hello, Chrism.
Yep, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I either pressed a button wrong or something like that. My apologies, folks. So what I was saying before I rudely interrupted myself was that practice your ethics more than you practice your physical conditioning. If you take a lot of pride in how your body looks and how it works and how much it weighs and, how much makeup it needs or doesn't need, how clean it is, do the same thing with your ethical body. I'll even suggest that the ethical body is the sixth body of human expression. Practice your ethics. Practice your morality. Feel the truth from your Kundalini. Now, that's if you have it awakened. And I can see, if you've had the Kundalini awakened and you're going, Kundalini in me, is this the truth that I see? Or something of that nature. You can listen to that, and it will guide you well. As long as you're going within and you're not depending on something outside of yourself that's couching or disguising itself as the Kundalini, which entities like to do sometimes. No. Practice your ethics. Do not engage in competitive belief systems. And this extends to teachers. Do not engage in competing your teacher against another person's teacher, or your understanding against another person's understanding, or your belief religion against somebody else's belief or religion. Don't do this. This is not something that you need to do anymore. The only religion that you really want to practice is that which is occurring within you right now. For those of you that have the Kundalini, well, you've already got the transformation taking place. Rosemary has been in this practice for almost exactly 2.5 years, and she's having classical Kundalini symptomology while she's here, but also while she's back home in Minnesota. She, too, is practicing her tolerance, her forgiveness, her patience, her trust, her service, her humility, her love. She is practicing all these things, and she's, and I make her practice them all the time. And I'm going to suggest the very same thing to you. Practice it all the time. There is never a day off that you should ever want to take from being a high, moral, ethical kind of person. Okay? Study different societies and see what levels of ethics and moralities are transcultural or cross-cultural. Okay? Understand this. Like, for instance, here in the States and in Britain and Scotland and Ireland and some other countries, showing the human body is considered obscene. Matter of fact, I think we've got a law here in the States that are called obscenity laws, and one of those obscenity laws is somebody showing a reproductive organ or something. That is not a cross-cultural thing. That's a lack of understanding and acceptance just here in this country, in the countries that I named. In other countries, like, say, Aboriginal countries or Native American countries, not Native American, but like the Aborigines of Australia or the Bushmen of Africa or the native peoples of the Amazon basin, body parts, reproductive organs, well, they've got their uses, but, there's not the same kind of Victorian-based fixation on them. And I use that term Victorian because in the States, that was basically what was taught, and as well as in parts of Europe and certainly in Britain, Canada, wherever Christianity has spread itself, the ethics and morals will change according to the ethics and morals of what Christianity espouses. So you get a culture between Christianity and, say, an Aboriginal belief system, and it'll depend on the individual population about which one they want to follow. With Kundalini doesn't really care as long as you follow ethical, moral guidelines that fit with your spiritual equation. So in a way, it's the Kundalini that will determine your ethical foundations. Now, by virtue of being born in this world at this time, and to the family that you were born with, to the scholastic system that you were put through, to the societal programming that you were put through and are continuously bombarded with, these things are not bad. They fit your karma. They fit your karma. You're not where you are accidentally. So they fit your karma. And in fitting that karma, you can take the moral guidances that are being provided by the Kundalini within you as it pertains to the society that you're in. Okay, so if the society that you're in if it says to you, showing of organs is obscene and should not be done ever, well, then you have to abide by those rules because that's where you are. You are here. You're inside of an agreement with millions of other people that say, okay, we won't show our reproductive organs because we don't feel that's polite. However, if you were in a different society that advocated the showing of reproductive organs, well, then the Kundalini would support that. The Kundalini knows the society that you're in. It knows what you're up against. It knows the clashes that you have with people, and it knows the harmonies that you have with other people. It knows your challenges. It just reminds me of that Santa Claus song. He knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. It's so perfect for the Kundalini because it really does, since it's inside you, watching you do all of this 24/7 for about 100 years, give or take. Okay. So know this. Know this. Do not go for easy access to power and sublimate your ethics. Keep your ethics strong. And what you'll find is as you keep your ethics strong, you won't have access to that quick and easy power because in some ways you're going to have to abrogate your ethics in order to have quick and easy access to power. And from a Kundalini context, I'm going to say don't do that. Kundalini is all the power that you will ever need for the next billion years. Kundalini is the source of the force in this universe, this multiverse. Really, this is such a true thing, this statement. Kundalini, the source of the force. Period. Now, Nitin Adsal has made a movie called Kundalini, and I wrote a lot of that movie with him. And I also wrote he needed some one-liners, so I gave him that one line. And that one-liner is the one that has really stuck with me the most because it really describes it very, very nicely in one sentence. Kundalini is the source of the force. Because Kundalini is direct energetic representation of divinity into mundane humanity. And I only say mundane humanity. You don't hear me saying mundane biology or mundane chemistry because mundane biology and mundane chemistry they're only mundane as long as humans look at it in a mundane way. Divinity doesn't have that visual limitation. divinity can see everything for its truth, for its essence. Partly because divinity is what created this realm, this world, this plane of physical existence. Divinity created this so that we can do this. You know, you've got the Urantia book, and you've got A Course in Miracles, and you have these things that try to describe an organization of angels, or the organization of all that is in the universe with regard to the Urantia book, and A Course in Miracles, which is really a Christianized version of how to awaken the Kundalini without mentioning the word Kundalini. A lot of people have a very good level of awakening with the Course in Miracles. But once the Kundalini comes up, I will advise those within the Course of Miracles to step out of that course and go into the Course of Kundalini Miracles and continue their education there. The Urantia people, they just, they really like what that channeler was writing. And evidently it was channeled by a bunch of people, not just one person. As in the Course of Miracles, another channeled level of information, which I don't really agree with. Those of you who know me, as far as I'm concerned, entities lie, and they lie all the time. And to say that, I am the source, I am all of this stuff, it's just baloney. But you can tell a good thing from the fruit that its harvest provides. And I think the harvest for A Course in Miracles has been fairly outspoken towards a positive level of divine relationship with regards to the Kundalini. So, I grant them that. Outside of that, I'm really people who are in A Course of Miracles, they need to graduate from that limitation, that limited aspect, and really move into the Kundalini if they can. If they can do that, not many will. With regards to the Urantia, it's channeled information, and even though it does provide a shall we say, a logical, linear description of the tasks that the divine must go through on a daily basis, doesn't mean that it's real. People, entities can say whatever they want. There's nothing there going, oh, you must be truthful, Mr. Entity. No, not at all. Not at all. They will lie, and they will lie repeatedly, and they will base the lie truth to make it more believable. Okay, and it's necessary that they do this. We must learn to discern. So you ask yourself, well, okay, Chrism says I must learn to discern, and so, okay, so this, how do I do that? And I'll suggest that you question whether a certain thought, action, or ability will be used to hurt anyone. Is anyone going to be harmed by this? Anyone? Is any kind of life to be harmed by this decision? Is any kind of life to be hurt by this thought? Because you got to remember that in order to control our behaviors, we have to learn to control our thoughts. Once you discern that, okay, this thought is going to hurt other people. This is going to really cause some people some problems. Well, then you need to discern if that is a good thing, because not all pain is bad. The pain of the art entering the person's fingers as they learn how to play the flute or the guitar, well, that's not a bad thing. They want to play that flute. They want to play that guitar, and so there's some pain involved in the fingertips and the finger movements. Okay? So then you have to discern what kind of pain. Is it hurtful pain? Is it ego-based pain? Is it something that you're doing for self-aggrandizement? Is it something you're doing to hurt another person that you may get ahead in life? Are you stealing somebody's purse? Are you stealing somebody's retirement? Are you a hedge fund manager? Are you stealing investors' monies? What are you doing with it and why? And if you're honest with yourself, your Kundalini will teach you what is appropriate. And through that teaching, you will learn to discern. But before your Kundalini is awakened, follow the practices of the safeties protocols, which you can reach on Kundalini Awakening System, #1.com. Go to the left-hand menu, and you'll see the safeties. Press on the safeties. Read those safeties. Hard copy those safeties. I'm giving you permission right now. Hard copy those safeties. Put a copy of them in the car. Put a copy of them in the bathroom if you do reading there. Put a copy of them in the living room. Put a copy of them in the bedroom. Learn them. Know them. Begin to live your life through these expressions. Don't worry. Don't worry if you find yourself doing a lot less negativity. Don't worry. The negativity will still survive if you're not doing it. I promise you. You are not depriving negativity of existence, okay? Nor are you depriving negativity of validation within you. We all have negativity. What do you think it is the Kundalini is using within you to balance the advice, it gives you? Don't kick the dog. A basis in kicking the dog somewhere along the line. Some dog had to have been kicked. So the Kundalini said, don't kick the dog. Well, now you know that level of negativity of kicking the dog is not to be done. But it was honored. Like I said, some dog had to be kicked. But that doesn't mean that you repeat the mistake. Now you know what not to do. Now, I use a very simple example, but it goes, you can extend it as far as it needs to be extended. You can extend it into the workplace. You can extend it into being caught in a traffic jam. You can extend it into your relationships and your friendships and types of scenarios. You can extend it easily into those scenarios. These are the steps that we take when we are within the grasp of a full acceptance and emergence into power. We're not looking for the quick and easy fix. We are not addicts. Power. We're not power addicts. We earn it and we learn it and we express it. We earn, learn, and express. And you earn it by doing it. And you learn it by doing it well. And by doing it well, you express the purity of the learnings that you've just received. It's just like a Bremelin said, come into this with a pure heart, or don't come here. It's very important. And, a lot of people, you'll hear a lot of this, a lot of newly awakened people. Oh, I don't want to devalue my negative side. Don't worry. Your negative side has had plenty of years, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, to flourish and to be happy. Now it's time for your divine side to begin to make the caterpillar into the butterfly. And as I said before, don't worry, your negativity, if you really want it to flourish, it will flourish. And if you really want to experience it while you're having Kundalini amplification, well, the Kundalini perhaps will allow you a scenario that you can feel the amplified negativity, if that's what you need to feel. Okay. There are plenty of people out there offering quick and easy access to power, and I just want you to avoid it. I want you to go within and access your power, your Kundalini power. You can look at my pictures. My energy is yours to have. I will give it to you. I will give it to you. My Kundalini is designed to be given. Some people are designed, their Kundalini is predicated towards healing. Others, it's predicated towards teaching. Others, it's predicated towards a little bit of both. Others, it's predicated towards giving. Well, mine's predicated towards a lot of the areas that I'm not even allowed to say. But it's mostly predicated towards giving to you through this voice, through these teachings, to you. I suggest if you can, I know these things can be heard on iTunes. I've never figured that out, but I don't have an iPod. I guess that could do it. That reminds me. I'm going to change the subject. Quick change. Chrism no longer has a telephone, okay? So the 707-327-7086 number is no good. And as the operator says, there is no new number. Okay? So you can reach me at kfireforall@yahoo.com. That's KFIREFORALL @yahoo.com. You can also reach me at chrism.kundalini on YouTube, at the YouTube network. You can also reach me at Chris Mitchell in Facebook. Okay, so there you have it. So I guess you get the point. Practice the ethics and the morality continuously. This is as much as important as sitting in meditation. Matter of fact, you can make it a form of meditation, a moving meditation, and intentional-based meditation. As you hear Amelia moving about, you can just imagine your ethics moving in a similar manner. I thought I lost myself again. I thought I'd knocked myself off. Okay, now, if you have a question about any aspect of your Kundalini awakening experience, please give a call at 347-934-0026. Rosemary, I'm going to give you the option to ask a question if you have a question or if you'd like to make a comment.
I have a question, and I'm sitting here listening, and I'm thinking, and I think I'm like a lot of people in this work that we do. We really do see ourselves doing good things and good work, and I would like for you to just run by things that we slip by. I mean, like, what's there to look for and to refine that in ourselves, because I see for myself, I'm not a thief. I don't steal. The major things that we're saying are wrong.
Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah, I would look at forgiveness and tolerance as being one of the top two right now. To be tolerant of people that irritate you, or actions or situations that irritate you, and to be forgiving of people who create circumstances or create hurt in your life. Do that forgiveness and do it well. When you do forgiveness really well, nothing ever bothers you. St. Francis of Assisi was a very, very forgiving person. He was very activist in regards to forgiving. Christ also, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. All these different icons in the Christian belief system are pointing towards forgiveness. So practice forgiveness all the time. Forgive yourself for killing the insects that are in your car's radiator grill. Mm-hmm. Forgive others for doing the things that they're doing. It doesn't mean that you become a doormat. If somebody hits you and you forgive them, you're not turning the other cheek to let them hit that one either. I know. It goes against that Christian teaching, but I think getting hit on the cheek once is enough. We can do the forgiving, and then we can step back, and they can swing again and miss. Okay. You don't need you're not a doormat simply because you're doing Kundalini tolerances and forgivenesses and gratitudes. Gratitude is the third big one that I'd like you to look at, Rosemary. Not just you in particular, but I'm talking to the world. Mm-hmm. Gratitude for the environment. Gratitude for the clean air, the clean water, if we had that. Gratitude for the sun and the moon and the stars and the night. Gratitude for the sacred soil that feeds us. Gratitude for our history and gratitude for our present moment that gives us the wisdom to learn from history that we don't, have to be forced to repeat it. Gratitude is a major, major blessing. And the more you're gracious for, the more grace is coming for you. The more you become that which it is you seek, the more you have reached that which it is you seek. So become tolerant, become forgiving, become gracious. Become loving and practice selfless service. Basically, for those of you who know the safeties, I'm reading, right? I'm not reading, I'm just kind of quoting from memory about the safeties. Do the Kundalini awakening safeties all the time. Granted, I don't want you doing the Tibetans 24/7. That could be a little much. The spinning alone. But I want you to do them at least once a day. We can do that once a day, sometime. We can find time to spend to the right 21 times. And then do the second, third, fourth, and fifth Tibetan. And boom, go right into an alternate nostril compression prayer, alternate nostril breathing. And then boom, go right down into a devotion or a meditation, depending on what stage of Kundalini you're in. Okay? You can do that once a day. Yes.
For me, with the safeties, I look at them as almost like a toolbox. And when I'm working on, self-correction and going through my day, I pick out of that toolbox some of the safeties that I need for particular scenarios or when something comes up. Like what you're saying, it might be gratitude or it might be tolerance, and I might need to use that one for a while, again and again. And then I might find that, forgiveness is the next one I take. So it's just something that, it's like a toolbox for me throughout my day.
Well, no, that's very
my
good.
Self-correction.
That's very good, and I support that. For everyone, you can live your life from the point of view of the safety protocols for Kundalini awakening. The worst thing that can happen to you is you become a better person. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. And the best thing that can happen to you is the safeties are a standalone activation sequence for Kundalini awakening. You don't need a guru or a master or this or that. Okay. Oh, by the way, Amelia posted a picture of me. Course thing. She posted a picture of me, and I have some sort of a black thing on my head. I just wanted people to know that it is not black mold. Okay? Not saying that what's inside of my head isn't black mold, but what is on the outside isn't a black mold growth. It is actually a hat. It's a hat. And I just wanted people to know that I have not all of a sudden grown black hair in the shape of a mold. So there you have it. You heard it here first.
I give up.
So yeah, the thing is to really, getting back to what you were saying, Rosemary, to practice tolerance, forgiveness, and gratitude. And that goes for everyone who's listening. If you can just practice those three to begin with, tolerance, forgiveness, gratitude, in whatever order you want, this will take you a long ways towards Kundalini-based refinement. Okay, Kundalini-based refinement, which is what a person wants to have when they're awakening the Kundalini. I have a little bit of time, so I want to talk about this. There's a guy back in the last century, a guy named Samuel Weor, I believe his name is, Samuel Weor. Samuel is a European guy, and he came down to the Amazon area, and he started to do ayahuasca. Ayahuasca, as some of you may know, is a hallucinogenic entheogen. Entheogen means a plant helper, a what they call light-bearing plants. Okay, light-bearing plant, meaning that it will take you on a journey, a spiritual journey. And so, well, Samuel evidently didn't know this, or he had a bad experience. But either way, he came out with a bunch of writings that were very, very, very critical of Kundalini. And one of the things that he wrote about was something called a Kunda Tiguador. The Kunda Tiguador. First of all, I like the name. I think it's very cool. I think it's better for a rock band than a manifestation of Kundalini. But maybe he didn't have a rock band. The Kunda Tiguador, as he described it, was a very, very, very long tail that one would get as they became suffused with demonic consciousness, and basically from then on you become a servant of Satan, and you fly around the earth with these bat-like wings and this big long Kunda Tiguador tail, and you become a servant of Satan. This is not true. This is not truth. This is fear based upon experiential misunderstanding. Yes, your tailbone might move. It might wag side to side. It might wag up or down. But it's not going to grow, and it's not going to protrude through your body as a new prehensile tail. Okay, no. You don't have to become a servant of Satan. No. You don't have to have any of the things that Samuel's fear-mongering produces. Now, you can become Satan's minion, if you wish. You know, that opportunity is there for you if you wish it, if he'll take you, or if it will take you. But it is not a guarantee. It is not a guarantee. Okay. There, of all the really negative things that are being said about Kundalini on the internet these days, the Kunda Tiguador thing comes up. My supposed terrible crimes come up. Also, Kundalini syndrome issues come up, and that the Kundalini syndrome and the Christian antipathy towards Kundalini is mostly what you're going to see there. Forgive the Christians, for they know not what they do. Okay, just forgive them. Tolerate them if you have to. If you're around them a lot, just be tolerant of their belief system and just forgive them. They're good people. They're just in a stage of refinement right now, this certain classroom called Christianity, and it's helping them to develop their moral compass. Forgive them, be tolerant, and be grateful that you are where you are. Okay, number one. There is nothing fear-based about Kundalini except that it does bring change upon all the systems of the body. So that can be scary, I admit it. All of a sudden you start to see what's around us all the time, and because you haven't seen it before, that can also be scary, like entities and whatnot. We are not the end-all, be-all with regards to spiritual creation, and that can also be a shock to a system that, believes that we are the end-all, be-all, such as Christianity and some other systems. Okay. We are part of a very, very, very big, very, very beautiful, exquisite experiment in soul refinement. We're like a soul refining factory. And the product that we put out is awakened Kundalini, and then the person moves on to another process, the Kundalini process after that. But while we're here encased in the five-body system, we are in that soul refinement system, moving towards Kundalini. So don't let anything that you read on the internet scare you away from the Kundalini, from your Kundalini, from your personal truth, which is really what we're talking about here. Kundalini is your personal truth. It is your personal truth, your personal doorway into your own personal divine expression, your own personal divine life. And yes, it goes against a lot of the programming that society has placed in you. It's because you're moving beyond your society and the way you think. You're moving beyond. You're becoming that light that everybody wants to be, evidently. If you read The Secret, as Rosemary was telling me about it. Rosemary was telling me about The Secret earlier today in the car, and I was giving her my opinion of The Secret, which probably doesn't really need to be given here. Is that you, Amelia? The scenario is... What?
I beg your pardon. I thought I was on mute, Chrism. That was me. I'm going on. I'm going on.
You were exhaling and sneezing and coughing, and I could even hear earwax dripping.
I was laughing about The Secret because I'd like to know what you think of The Secret, because I have, I never bought into it myself, so I was curious to know what you thought.
Yeah. It's just easy. Well, it's just easy access to power is what they're teaching. Easy access to power. If you think this way, then you'll get all the money that you ever wanted. If you think that way, well, you'll get that brand new car. I just expect Bob Barker to come in here sometime, and says, which is it, door number 1, door number 2, door number 3? People have really got to get their ego under control first. And a person may ask, well, what is the ego? What is that? What does an ego consist of, Chrism? Give me it in a linear, logical sense. What is the ego? Well, the ego is that aspect of you that has a piece in every one of your 5 bodies. Has a piece. Okay, your ego is that little inner child of yourself. In the Huna terms, the ego would be the unihipili. Okay, so within that structure, you need to begin to control that inner child. The ego is like a 7 or 8 year old. Well, 6, 7, or 8 year old, depending on the person. And that 6 or 7 or 8 year old child within you wants to be noticed, wants to have what it wants to be loved, wants to be honored, wants to have given total freedom to do whatever it wants to do. And you, as the higher mental functioning component of your consciousness, you have the job of training the ego not to be a problem or not to be an impediment to spiritual evolution. How's that?
That's brilliant.
No.
That is actually excellent in the sense that that's very compressed and very precise. And it's very clear, Chrism.
Well, that's the Kundalini. The Kundalini will do that for you. It's weird. It's like people go, well, how can you give a 2-hour interview just off the top of your head? And it says, well, it isn't off the top of my head. It has really nothing to do with my head, so to speak. It's really more of the other 2/3 of who I am, the Kundalini. And the Kundalini will literally put words in your mouth. Not only that, the Kundalini will literally steer you from one concept to another and then bring you back to that original concept. And you're just kind of going, wow, I could never do that in my wildest dreams. Extemporaneous, right? This is all extemporaneous, folks. I got no script here.
Yeah.
Okay,
that was excellent, because ego is something that we all talk about and debate and what is it, and we all have different versions of what ego is, and sometimes it's semantics the way we use it. But that was excellent. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, my dear. You're welcome. And if anybody would like to call in, it's 347-934-0026. And I'll also accept questions out of the chat room if anybody there has a question about the chat room. Certainly. Yeah.
Ashley would like to comment that he particularly liked that photograph of the mold, of the hat.
The mold photograph.
The hat. He liked the photograph, so he's just saying.
Let's come to agreement. It'll just be the moldy hat. How's that?
Well, he likes the look of it. It's a good picture.
Well, thank you.
But there are no other questions.
Okay, very good. We will continue. So getting back to the beginning of the subject of this discussion is divinity. Divinity has its hands in everything, and yet it chooses how it will be expressed by the individual. So, i.e., Chrism has Kundalini awakened in him, and so the divinity chooses what is going on with how Chrism is delineating and expressing the knowledge that the Kundalini wants brought out into the public. I'm not allowed to bring everything out. I'll tell you that right now. You know, I've got Rosemary out here in the ashram, and you know she's doing the whole shadow work, and it's not what you think. And you know, the Kundalini is there, giving her instruction, giving me instruction for her, et cetera, and so forth. It just goes on and on and on. Divinity is Kundalini. Kundalini is divinity. You are divine. You have that divine spark within you. And it will teach you. It will train you. I had no teacher. And I was a particularly really bad student when it comes to the expectations I have of my students, if you could call those expectations. Yeah, I made every mistake you could possibly make on purpose sometimes, just because I was angry at being forced to change this way or transform that way. But Kundalini also knew that I wasn't in an area where there were any teachers of whatsoever with the Kundalini, and that I had to wait until I could afford to get into a computer cafe. And that tells you a little bit about my finances of the day at that time. You know, until I could afford to pay that $1.50 an hour or something it was, to get online and to learn how to use a computer. I had no idea about how to use a keyboard. And then to receive the information from the Kundalini, to read information about the Kundalini, and to have my Kundalini go, yep, that's right, nope, that's not right, yep, that's right, nope, that's not right, and so on and so forth, until I had a very clear understanding of what my Kundalini was indicating as a way to live your life in a pro-harmonious relationship with your Kundalini, so that there is no fear. Because your trust is so strong, there is no fear. Because your forgiveness is so strong, there is no problem. Because your love is so strong for the Kundalini, for others, for all creation, that you are that strength of all creation, and nothing can harm you. This is what you're moving into. Yes, there are paths that you can choose that are very painful for you. Absolutely. If you want to go there, fine. Go there. Have a good time or a bad time, however it may be for you. But you don't have to go there. You don't have to lust after power so much that you're willing to sacrifice your morals and your ethics for Kundalini awakening. You don't need to have somebody else read your tarot cards or somebody else provide you with Enochian mantras that, you know, they don't even know the meaning of. There's no need to practice hurtful, negative things in your life in order to have Kundalini. You can do good. You can be good. It's like you're the I and the Tao. Okay, the Tao, for those who don't know, is that Chinese symbol of two teardrops or water droplets chasing each other. One has a black eye, one has a white eye. The black teardrop has the white eye, and the white teardrop has the black eye. We are like the white eye and the black teardrop. And the Kundalini by our acceptance of its expression through us, allows us resonance with the large body of grace, which that white teardrop would represent. And you can, grace is with both teardrops. It's just what levels you want to experience. Do you need more lessons in negativity? Do you need more lessons in fear? Do you need more lessons in attachment? There's an option there for you. Do you want to get clear of attachment? Do you want to get clear of being confined to a 5-sense, 5-body, karmically driven human vehicle? Well, that option is there for you too. What do you choose? What do you choose? What do you choose, Amelia? She's running for the mic now. Running. What do you choose?
Okay.
Were you even paying attention at all to what you were over there making tea?
I was not paying it. You caught me. No, I was not paying attention.
I was talking about how do you pick a ripe watermelon? That was my question.
I was doing something else. I rarely am. I'm normal, but I was. Okay.
Yeah,
I did not hear.
Well, I'm going to ask Rosemary. Rosemary, what do you choose?
Choose the 5-star life.
What does that mean?
That means working hard, not in a bad way or an ego way, but queuing up to just those things that you said about forgiveness and gratitude, tolerance, and I'm learning those at another level here. And I just know from what you're saying, it doesn't feel comfortable all the time. But I know that I'm in a growing setting, and I'm in a growing time in my life. And I'm choosing to stretch that bit rather than just as before. And I've said a number of times, I have had a focused life and a time of service and all those general good things. And so that was the reason for my question of what is that? And as soon as you said it, I said, of course, but the specifics you gave but it's a choice. It's a choice.
Well, I'm glad that you have made that choice, Rosemary, and that you continue to make that choice. Amelia, how have you chosen? Oh, that's right. You were drinking tea or something.
I was actually reading a conversation on Facebook that's very interesting and kind of pertinent in a way to what you've been talking about. So I completely focused on it, and I apologize.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Well, I just want to say something.
I wish I could answer the question. I feel, but anyway, I don't know what it was. So
it's okay. It's not about watermelons, though. I just want you to know that. Now, I want to say thank you to you, Amelia Centaura, and to your husband, John, and to all your children, and to Chance and Shakti. I want to say thank you for your support of this program. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like to thank Glenn Ola for the design and maintenance of Kundalini Awakening Systems 1.com. I would like to thank Rosemary and Eileen Laurel and Amelia Centaura for the many gifts that they're giving by putting these seminars together. I would like to thank Eileen Laurel for disseminating the teachings that have been given. I would like to thank everybody who is listening today and everybody who's going to be listening in the future. All my friends on Facebook and on Yahoo, I'd like to thank you. Google Plus, I still don't know how to work, so I keep getting friends there, but, well, it's just another learning curve. Thank you for all who are watching the YouTube videos, and I encourage you to watch those videos. And in summary, do not go for quick and easy access to power. Go within. Don't look outside of yourself. Don't use sigils. Don't use spells. Don't use Enochian mantras. Don't use anything that can be used that is hurtful for you or for other people, or for the environment, or for the animals or insects or fish, or the air. Practice the safeties if you can. And thank you for listening to this broadcast. Thank you, Amelia, for being a co-host. Did you want to say adieu?
Adieu. I'm tempted to, I suppose we're finished. I was just interested in a few points that somebody made here. Could I just read one, Chrism?
We've got time.
Got time. Okay. So she says, as soon as we feel we are wielding the power, we have stepped into sorcery, and we have partnered with an entity while believing that the power is coming from us. That is the line that has been clearly drawn before me by the hand of God. You can see why the path of surrender is quite unappealing to anyone who wants control and power.
Very, very appropriate. Who wrote that?
Well, Laura wrote that.
Just a first name. Just a first name. What?
Yeah. And Laura also says, and this is so beautiful, Chrism. She says, you will only partner with the divine when you come to your Kundalini as a child, bearing your full weakness and powerlessness. Not in self-pity, because that is a manipulative state of control. No, you must unravel on the lap of your divine mother and surrender your powerlessness. You will healing and be released from the burden of needing and wanting to control it.
There you go. That's excellent. That's excellent. And everybody, just so you know, that is at Kundalini Awakening ! Okay, that's on Facebook. Thank you for reading that, Amelia. Thank you very much. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. When we're using intention, we can be called, that's called sorcery. When you're in surrender and allowing the Kundalini to move through you for whatever reason, that is surrendering to the Kundalini, and it's very different. Those are very different concepts. I do not.
Yes, she. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Another little that I will read. She says, the ego will never be fed by the Holy Spirit, but an entity will offer an agreement where you feel like you have some kind of ownership of the experience. Even the focus you may put on the particular answer you want to hear is tricking yourself into feeling like you are somehow in control. Hence, you slip outside of the protection of holy surrender and into the realm of control. Any output on your part is outside of God, subject to entity partnership. When you are only receiving and giving your full willpower up, that is when you are outside of entity influence, because there is nothing to grab hold of. The only thing you can do is practice. You will come to understand the nature of God and recognize immediately when something is not operating in the framework. Anything that is rushing you is not from God. Just to give one example, there are many subtle cues you need only to ask God to teach them to you. Then surrender to the truth when it presents you with the answer.
Very, very, very well written, I think. I completely agree with Laura.
Laura, yes.
Laura.
Yes, Laura,
good,
yes.
Good. Thank you for reading that. And there you go, folks. There you have it. And you can tell that was her Kundalini writing that. Can you tell that, Amelia?
Well, absolutely. That's why I read it and I got sidetracked.
Yeah. That's her Kundalini. That is Laura's Kundalini writing that. In some way, there were very absolutist tendencies within those writings that she gave. But I'm okay with that because I can feel the Kundalini in those words. I can feel that because I surrender to mine. Amelia,
yes, as can I.
Yeah, and I think that as everyone who listens to this blog talk, to this broadcast, they too will feel the Kundalini in Laura's words.
And I would
like to thank.
Discussion is actually happening.
Why don't you go right on that it's that this part of that discussion is broadcast on this segment. They may want to hear it.
Yes, I will. And that discussion actually is quite a long one, and it's on the Kundalini Healing Group, which is a public group. So anybody could go and read that if they have an interest.
Oh, good. There you go. It's on the Kundalini Healing Group in Facebook.
Yeah.
Everyone. Anyway, I'd like to thank you, Amelia, your family. I'd like to thank Rosemary. I'd like to thank Lasha. I'd like to thank Glenn, Ola, Eileen, Laurel, and Francine, Victoria. I would like to thank Max and Zamar and Sugar Babe, Nestle. Huh? What? What? Oh, Ed. Rosemary is providing me with extra things to be grateful for. So thank you, Rosemary. I would like to thank Ed for the communication box, and I need to let people know that Ed provided the internet service for this broadcast, and we are all indebted to him and the O'Connors in Ireland for this broadcast going out. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll talk with you again next week.